one, a good ready position with the racket head higher than the grip level position. From here, all you're doing is you're going to the contact point. So the most common mistake on the volleys. Step number 3 to mastering your volleys, use your body weight for power. So instead of swinging with the racket, you're keeping a short swing, but you're going.
We'll say this is the ball. I'm going to have a slight downward motion just because I'm using my step. And what that creates is a little bit of backspin that's going to give you a
forward momentum. Now, what I want you to focus on, most importantly, and this is extremely important on volleys, and Roger does this really well. When he goes out to hit the ball, pay attention to his racket. And what I want you to focus on is the distance between his body and the racket. Most people will take their racket when they get ready to swing a volley.
Are out away from you, whether you hit a forehand or a backhand, two-handed or one-handed. Having the elbows out helps keep your racket very square against the back of the ball. So I'm going to hit some volleys here, and my focus is going to be that my elbows are out away from my body. I want you to see my elbows out, sticking out of the side. When you keep your hand down below the ball, below contact, that forces your racket head to be up, and that gives you the strong wrist position, which, by the way, should be in your ready position. You don't want to be like this in the ready position. You want the racket up with your hand below the ball, below the racket. So I'm going to hit some volleys, and I'm going to keep my hand below the ball. I want you to finish on your volley with your strings still facing where you want the ball to go.
Nice little short backswing, and then from there you just step in and block it with a high to low swing. Now, if your extensor muscle is weak and you find the racket wobbling when you're hitting the ball, you need to build up that extensor muscle. There's a couple of ways you can do that.
As Roger Federer executes his forward swing, there's one key detail that will provide a lot of insight about how you can hit world-class volleys. Now, watch how as he's driving his arm forward, his hand remains relatively still. There's not a lot of fluctuation in the arm, but rather the arm is being driven forward together as one piece, the entire hitting arm structure being driven from the pec and the shoulder. This motion is known
it's in the right spot. Now from there, so I went on my right foot, split step, right foot, step forward. Now from there, I'm gonna have a little bit of a hit with my shoulders, which we'll get to here in a second. And as I fall through, now it's another split step up here. So I started, if we just look at my footwork, I started back here, right foot, front foot comes forward. So I step forward about 2 feet, I hit the shot, and then my right foot comes forward. What I don't wanna do is I don't wanna do this, hit the shot, and now I'm back here. I ended up 2 or 3 feet forward as I did this. So a great little drill for this. 1, 2 is this turn out with my right foot. 3 is the pivot there. 4 is me turning forward, and then my right foot comes forward. Then we can go the other way. Split step. My left foot turns out, right foot comes forward. This is my backhand. A little bit of hit with the shoulders, and then my left foot comes forward. Split step, right foot turns out, left foot comes forward, forehand, then I come forward with my right foot. Split step, left foot turns out, right foot comes forward. It's a backhand, little shoulder hit, and then I come forward from there. So you can see just in a handful of shots how I'm constantly working toward the net, working toward the camera. This is also great when you're back here at the service line. I start back here, I do my little volley, boom, I'm forward. And then I'm coming up into the court, split step, backhand, and before you know it, 2 shots, and I'm right on top of the net. So it's great also if you're coming in from the baseline. One little side note here, these drills are just that, they're drills. I'm kind of working on getting the open. And as you do a few of these, you may hit some shots and this tennis ball may go straight to the left, but that's completely fine. I just want to have the feeling of always getting to the outside. I'd rather see you as you're starting out hit shots way across court, or if you're doing the backhand, go here way across court. The tip of my racket is well above my hand. My arms and everything are moving together to get that to happen. The speed comes from hitting it solid on the strings. I can take a big swing like this and change the angle of the racket all over the place, and I'm not going to hit it solid. Maybe 1 out of 20.
You can see here that I can get a beautiful angle of the wrist. I can get my racket parallel to the net very easily, and this actually helps the backhand volley. Thanks guys for watching this video.
So if my elbow's down, what's going to happen? I'm going to take the ball down. If I get my elbow up a little bit, now I can get the ball to go through the court, okay, even there.
Degree angle so that she can play that ball in front of her, but not in front of her in relationship to the court, in front of her in relationship. Everyone's contact point is going to be slightly different, but if you can turn your hips and your shoulders and play that ball in front of you, you can just find somewhere that feels comfortable to strike the ball. Now Pam, because she
practice here, she's been working it from the baseline for a while. Soft on the feet, always forward. Still has pretty good
boast of the pressure of us getting down. Once we have that, and this is a tricky thing, that we cannot maintain that angle anymore. The racket head is going to have to start to drop. And because of that, the eyes and the body need to be close to contact. First and foremost, we need to see the ball well. So if I'm getting this racket head down here and my eyes are up, I'm not going to see contact very well. So by getting down and then dropping the racket head, I'm keeping everything connected here. All right, now, more often than not, just getting that racket head to drop is not enough, because our main idea with a low volley, and the pros do this too, is to get the ball moving upward. We're below the height of the net. If we keep the shot level, it's going to go right into the net. So after that racket head drops, we've got to let those strings lay open a little more. That's going to create this upward angle that's going to get the ball some height. With that being said, though, be careful, because we don't want to just pop this ball straight up high in the air and give our opponent a free put away. So I like the feeling that I'm kind of cradling the tennis ball a little bit. And by that I mean having a little more feel, taking the firm pressure off the grip and relaxing the hand a little bit. And what that does for me is I get down, it helps me feel out the ball a little more and helps me control the trajectory. I'm able to keep the ball a little bit lower by absorbing the shot. Essentially, I'm going to create a little more backspin. That's usually going to help me keep the ball low as well. I mean, you look at the pros, they're not getting down here and just popping low volleys up. A lot of times they're able to stay offensive because as they get down into this position, they're able to keep the trajectory low themselves and able to pop up and out and continue to advance forward. My target for a long enough amount of time, I think it is okay that the racket head starts to shut a little bit. But if you guys will see, it's a really gradual shutting of the racket head. It's not the wrist snap where it's shut in an instant.
Another thing you should avoid when you're close to the net is taking a swing volley. It simply will not work, because on a swing volley we have to take more of a fuller swing, and we simply do not have time to do this when we're this close to the net. So here's when you should attempt to hit a high volley. Any ball that's going to be between your shoulder and your head, and your positioning is going to be anywhere from the middle between the service line and the net all the way to close to the net. These type of balls should be struck as a high volley. You should avoid hitting an overhead and hitting a swing volley. A swing volley is basically a swing volley. Basically, you can hit it anywhere from your rib cage all the way to your head. You should avoid taking swing volleys below your rib cage around the waist area because you're going to have to hit the ball up from that position. It's always wise to hit a swing volley with a straight across the body motion as something like this. So swing volley.
If you enjoy, when I get this low volley, you can see the knee is placed down, and it's this driving mechanism that gives me plow and stability. And I don't have to worry about the lower back because once I've made this move, right, from here, this leg stabilizes. The knee doesn't end up over the toe, so I'm safe there, and I can transition. We want to make sure that we're raising the elbow in supporting the racket, giving it greater leverage over the ball. And here's the analogy that I tell my students. If you had an...
Trying to absorb the shock of the ball. So that's where the softening of the wrist and the arm come in, just to absorb it. Now there's a little drill, and I'll show you how to do that you can do to get a feel for the shot. Hit it with just the racket face open, maybe 10, 20 degrees, or try and hit the ball back at the same angle it's coming in. Okay, if it's coming in on this angle, try and hit it back on the same angle to get your net clearance. And then after you've made contact, I want you to just totally relax the wrist and the arm and just come under the ball like that, like you're trying to almost peel an orange. You know, you're trying to peel the cover off the ball. But that happens after the ball has already left, okay? So you make contact, the hand is softened, you're absorbing the shock, and then you just come under the ball slightly. So, okay, the first step is learning how to absorb the ball. So in this drill I'm doing here, you'll see how I soften the wrist, the arm, and let the racket just absorb the ball. And then I just pop it up slightly and catch it. Remember, at contact, the racket is not laid back that much, just slightly. But it's the finish. After the ball is gone, then you're carving under it. Okay, here's a side view in slow motion. You'll get a good look at it. I'm setting the racket there, and you can see the racket's open, but it's only open about 20 degrees. I'm trying to hit the ball back at the same angle it's coming in at. Now, you'll notice as the tape rolls, watch, I'll carve under it right there. I hope you enjoyed that video.
With a light grip pressure. If you hold it too tight, the ball will pop high up and you'll hand over the advantage to the opponent. Bend your knees and keep the side of the racket up. Swing the racket forward and open the face as you contact under the ball. The contact should be to the side and in front of your body. Try and make the ball bounce straight ahead and close to the net. You could try practicing the underspin, by catching your own drop volleys. Once you've mastered straight drop volley, you could try and hit a drop volley cross-court. Angle the racket and contact the outer and lower side of the ball to add some side spin. Step 3. The follow-through. In a drop volley, there isn't much of a follow-through. Lead with your body and step forwards into the shot. Ask your partner to feed you low balls over the net and practice your drop volley. Enjoy your game!
And let's try. So it's a pretty steep high to low swing path. And just like the volleys, it's driven by the shoulder. A common mistake people make is to try and make the spin by using excessive wrist movement, but this rarely ends in success. The swing path on the backhand drop shot is often high to low and across the body, whereas on the forehand drop shot, that across the body element is normally reduced. Let's have a look in closer detail. Once the shot is set up, notice how the shoulder drives that steep swing path down and across the body. Racket acceleration adds the spin, not excessive wrist movement. And here we see similar on the forehand, although the natural swing path is far less across the body. And of course both these shots have their own 1-2.
You're looking to flatten the racket face out a little bit more as we're coming underneath the ball. So we take a look at the technique on this shot. The racket will start above your ball. As you come down and then underneath the ball, we're going to open up that string bed. We're looking to really make sure that you get a lot of speed coming underneath that ball. At the same time, you're going to loosen your arm up a little bit so the ball doesn't travel too far. And then one of the final keys is to make sure that there is a follow-through at the end of this shot. A lot of players will hit that drop shot and just stop the racket. We want to make sure we're increasing the backspin, that we're accelerating underneath the ball with a follow through that's coming back up. The key is the racket angle for the extreme backspin, however. Any angle where I'm hitting a more normal drop shot angle here and then coming underneath the last minute will produce normal backspin. This aggressive, heavy backspin is going to be needed to have the racket bed wide open here, totally towards the sky. Other techniques that might help you develop this extreme backspin drop shot are to move your hand up the racket handle. This will help you reduce the speed of the racket or the power that you're hitting on your shot. You still want a lot of racket head speed, but we don't want a lot of depth. The other thing you could consider is adjusting your grip. So on the backhand extreme drop shot, you'll actually move your grip over towards the forehand, which will open the racket bed up a bit more. And on the forehand side, you'll adjust your grip even more towards your backhand to help you open the racket head more. Once you become comfortable with the adjusted grip and moving your hand up the racket to getting the racket bed flat, you can then start moving your hand down the racket handle and going back to the continental grip.
Soft hands, you can see I'm generating a very sharp angle. I'm just moving that racket in front of my body. If it's up by my face, you'll see it crosses right in front of my nose. And what you're going to find here is if you're looking to stick the volley on a short angle, you're going to squeeze, right? If I want to generate a lot of power, I'm going to squeeze and punch out towards that area of the court, that short angle that I'm looking for. I'm going to squeeze and cross in front of my nose. If I want to drop it short with touch, I'm trying to create a soft surface. And the best analogy I can give you here is if you throw a tennis ball against a brick wall, it's going to bounce back a lot harder than if you throw it against a pillow. So try and create a pillow, a soft surface for that ball to bounce off of as that racket travels in front of your face. I know this is short, but it is simple instruction. If you want to generate this short angle volley, You know, make sure that racket's moving in front of your face, and if you want to lighten it up with some touch, just relax your grip to generate that short angle dropper. I hope this video helps. As you guys know, at Player Court, we just want to see you improve your game. Do me a favor, I don't know a ton about you. If I did, I could give you a little bit more custom video coaching on things that you need to be working on specifically. So do me a favor, click the button or the link below, answer a couple questions for me, and I'll send you some custom video coaching based on what you need to be working on. Just click the link or the button below, and we'll do the rest.
Down with the non-hitting hand, and then snap it up with the forearm and wrist. Here we go. Okay, at this point, the non-hitting hand is pulling down on the racket slightly to create that tension in the upper back, the upper arm. This way I can really snap it up with the forearm and wrist at contact.
Ahead. And when you keep the ball straight ahead, you move the opponent to you, and then it's easier to bisect their two shots, cross court and down the line, on their next shot. Then when you get the high volley, that's when you're looking to hit a ball off at an angle. When you get high balls in singles, you're looking to end the point, and it's best to try to hit the ball so it leaves the court using the sideline. So low volleys, hit the ball straight ahead. High volleys, angle them off. All right, here's what it should look like. On a block volley, okay, I wouldn't be moving the racket forward. On the punch volley, we're actually going to step a little bit forward onto that and move the racket forward. Okay, so it's punch, not a punch like this, but a punch kind of like moving your racket forward. Like here, we get a good amount of pace on that. I could do it with or without my feet. Okay, that's without moving forward, and we'll do one with my feet moving forward. So I'm in the low. Okay, I could step in, and the punch varies. You could do a little punch, you could do a bigger punch, but if it gets to be too big, then it becomes the drive volley, which is something different. You see the really good volleyers, when they hit, they have a very crisp shot, and there's very little movement on the racket. Misha Zverov, one of my favorite volleyers, he's probably the best volleyer on the men's tour. He said, it's not so much what you do before you swing, it's how quickly you can stop your swing after you make it. So what he means is when we come back into the take back and we swing, we have to stop here. And all these balls are going in with some nice pace. One more punch volley. Okay, that's all it is, guys. Punch volley, it's very effective. And I wanted to show you one other thing. If we're a little far away from the ball, here as I am here, we could step over and still do the punch volley. We take the opposite leg from the hitting arm, which in this case is the left leg, and we just take that. Of course, that's one way of hitting the ball when the ball is coming a little relatively slow. This is where one player is hitting a ground stroke from mini court. See if you can hit my forehand, Shahid. So this gives you a good feel. So again, I'm still low, and this my left hand prevents my elbow from going back. So it's a good way. Then I try to feel the same. So the key point in the flowing volleys is that there's no sudden step, no sudden move, and that everything is flowing through, so your footwork is flowing through. It doesn't really matter how your feet are, and when you're hitting the ball, you want to guide the racket through with a little bit more feel and not so forcefully. So here's another example. So this would be a flowing volley. So I can
reduce that particular shot off the forehand and the backhand side a little bit more.
That really surprises me that he felt that way, because Lord knows he can.
There's the approach, slow and close to the line, gives him a chance to come in. Kept it.
Spin on it. How's that for feel? Yeah, you're witnessing someone who may go down in history, and he's getting there as the greatest player that ever played.
Oh, brilliant.
Not too shabby. Oh.
It's a great shot. More aggressive than I've seen Federer, already attacking the net. That shot he just hit here is very hard.
He has the game point.
Oh, what a point. 2 in a row. Staggering points.
Stunning.
Calculated. Yeah, it's a calculated guess, really. Try and pick up any patterns of play from Isner as far as the case of the pressure point.
He takes a chip forward. Look at this shot. Talk about putting a little English on the ball. Look at that backspin.